So again, if anyone out there is listening and wants to ask questions about Knights of the Republic: Shadows of Corruption, you can of course call us at 626-226-1475.
I'd love to talk to you.
Yes.
I just saw the film for the first time today.
Okay.
I have a background in independent filmmaking as well, and naturally the technical aspects jumped out at me.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the storytelling as well. I want you to know that I really, really enjoyed it. The last portion really struck me. In fact, if I'm being honest, the first half I was like, okay, this is cool. I've seen fan films before. This is cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second half happened, and I was like, you just opened up a whole new world for me as a Star Wars fan. Cool. Which was fantastic. So
thank you.
I just
want
to put that out there real quick.
Thank you so much.
One question that I have, and we kind of touched on it briefly, is I'd like to know more about the technical aspect. I'd like to know what you shot on. I'd like to know what editing suite you've been using. What about your VFX? Where do those come from? Can you tell me about the technologies used in the production of this?
Sure. When we first shot it, we separated it in two parts. So the first part was shot, if anyone who's seen the film, out in like a woods area, a generic fan film. We did that on purpose. We wanted everyone to think what you were thinking. Like, oh, okay, this is just another fan film. And then we plunge into this psychological existence, and this deeper thinking kind of a film. So the first part we shot on just a Panasonic HVX, just very simple. Because it was a flashback sequence, we figured we could use some glowing, some grittiness, And towards the second part, we needed something a little more clear, a little more crisp. So we shot on the Sony PMW-EX3s, and those were great. We shot on two of those, and it turned out really good. And after that, we were thinking about what editing system to use, what editing software. And looking at all of the visual effects that we had to pump in there, we're like, well, Adobe products, obviously. We're going to need some sort of dynamic linking between the Premiere and the After Effects, and then, of course, Photoshop and all those other things. So we edited the whole thing on Adobe Premiere CS 5.5, CS5 and CS 5.5.
And then I'm assuming the VFX came through After Effects?
Yep, After Effects.
I also wanted to point out that I think this is the first time I've seen the lightsaber glow done this way, which is very Old Republic, which I really liked. Most fan films go with stock lightsabers. They're just happy if they can make broomsticks glow.
Yeah.
They're like, rotoscoping? Crap. But actually, what I found was that the stability of your lightsaber glow, the consistency, all those things, I thought you did a really fantastic job with those. All the VFX came out as very organic.
Thank you. We wanted a different look, and I was talking to Cameron about this, and when we first tried out the idea of, well, what if we had a kind of a base glow, and then it shot off into its own flare, so each lightsaber was unique to the camera's take of it, and so we got doing it, and we figured after we had a system come down, I'll actually let Cameron explain the system, so it wasn't as hard after we figured it out.
Yeah, once we figured out all the masking and rotoscoping and all this, it was just really easy. We just do it was basically a 5-step process, forward, back, and forward again, replacing the lightsaber blades, and we just had to match the lens flare effects to basically we tried to characterize the flares to the characters so that they would kind of match what their actions and all this. And I've lost my train of thought.
So basically,
that's
like
okay.
each flare that you see is unique to the Sith or the Jedi that has them. So we chose very specific ones to use, and we customized each one.
Yeah, and it was a very mind-numbing process, and I would spend a lot of just days just staring at a screen, making sure that lightsaber was pixel on pixel.
Yeah, it's very time consuming, as any rotoscope artist will tell you, and even with the new, what was it, an After Effects, the Roto Brush, we figured, hey, this is the new revolutionary thing, it's going to save us a lot. No, it didn't. We were still stuck.
Now, earlier you talked about producing quite a few fan films, one every year, which is actually a pretty good rate of production while still maintaining quality. Did you post those on TFN, the Fan Film Network?
I've posted some of my more recent ones. There was a test film we did for this called Knights of the Republic Revan, which was basically an action test film that displayed a couple cool Force usages and stuff like that. Everything else before that, I'm kind of skeptical to letting the public see it. It's on YouTube, but I don't want it or anything. So I made my first fan film when I was 14 years old, and I actually went and called the 501st, and I took them up to a location up in the mountains here in Provo, and we shot this cool little Darth Vader versus Sifo-Dyas film, and it got a lot of attention because of the environment. It got a lot of recognition at the film festival because I was so young. But after that, I'm just sitting here like I'm sweeping it under the rug, hoping no one notices.
But you did have Darth Vader punched in the face.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
Really?
Everyone was like, "You can't do that. He's Darth Vader." I was like, "I just did fan films. That's what."
Nice.
Go ahead.
Given your you're working with effectively no budget through this entire thing. Let's say you had a budget, or let's just say you
were given $1 million to make your movie. Who would be in it?
Oh man, who would work for $1 million?
Let's make this easier. Unlimited budget.
Unlimited budget. I would probably stick. I would have Rod Butler as the main Mandalorian.
Awesome. Good choice.
Let's try.
Except for you'd have to have him get rid of his heavy Scottish accent. As cool as that is, I just can't picture a Mandalorian with that accent.
I had a Scottish person in my first fan film that I got a lot of crap about, so I'm going to tread away from that. As far as Revan goes, I think I would cast Jude Law. Jude Law, I think, would do a really good job. He's very subtly evil. You wouldn't know, and who knows? Maybe we wouldn't even see his face. I don't think I would want to unmask Revan.
Then you could do the show backwards. Just go backwards.
The Memento version of Star Wars.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't think the audience is that sophisticated to understand it.
That would be awesome.
I don't know. We could probably pull it off, especially with Timothy Zahn doing the Scoundrels book.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. It's a Ocean's 11 with Han Solo.
Really?
Yeah.
I like where that's going.
Yeah.
I like where that's going.
Right?
So, but yeah, we could do something like that. But I think Jude Law would be a good choice.
I think it's his voice.
He's got the height, he's got the voice, the presence. But not only that, he can pull off someone that's good. Mm-hmm. But twisting towards the dark side, I think.
Yeah, he needs to be a little shaky. Who knows?
Would you consider asking Mark Hamill to do voice work?
Yes, I would. I very much would.
Could he be Revan?
No. Okay. There's no way. But I don't know. Mark Hamill, I think he would do a really good job in some of the Sith voices and stuff like that. I mean, gosh, he's done the best Joker I've ever heard. So
in peace. He did really sort of bring a iconic level to the Joker. It's hard to envision a cartoon version of the Joker.
Until he killed him.
Well, I'm sure a lot of you have as well, but I had the opportunity to meet him at Comic-Con, and I asked him, what would you think if you go back and do it again, if you had to choose either Luke Skywalker or the Joker, professionally, what would you want? He was like, well, Star Wars didn't really shoot me off into any huge starring roles. And the Joker's always fun, so let's go with the Joker.
Who would you cast for Bastila?
Man, my girlfriend's going to look at me all hatred with this, but Anne Hathaway did really good. I think Olivia Wilde would do really good, too. Or I also love Mila Kunis a lot, too. I think she would do very well. So, I don't know. I mean, like that, some really chill, actress, someone that could play someone essentially very laid back, because when you throw someone like that into a serious role, it shows. They have their own logic, their own thinking, and that's what Bastila really needs. So.
Oh, I think Anne Hathaway did an amazing job with the Catwoman.
I was blown away. She completely stepped out of her.
Oh yeah,
fantastic in the Princess Diaries.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Let's jump on that wagon.
I like that.
Diaries.
Yeah. Love and Other Drugs.
I enjoy it.
All right, moving on.
Anyways, very lastly, too, the last character, Atten, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Absolutely.
Oh,
hands down, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
I get it. I get that. I see it.
After seeing him in the last Batman movie,
even before that,
even when he was in G.I. Joe.
I'm sorry, he was a horrible Cobra Commander.
But he still made it awesome, as awesome as he could. The guy's
True.
a good
They
actor.
didn't cast that right, but he did very well with what he was given.
He did.
That's it.
They did not write that very well.
But
even like Inception, though, that guy should have been best supporting actor.
Yeah.
Oh, people are starting to notice now.
Oh yeah.
In the next year or two, he's going to have so many blockbusters out there. I guarantee.
That's
Yeah,
what he's got going.
He's gonna be Rick Moranis' character in Little Shop of Horror remake.
Really?
Yep.
Yay! Claps.
Yeah. So that's your unlimited budget.
That's my unlimited budget right there.
Sweet.
Oh, and maybe if I had to shoot with Malik, I would love to cast what's his name, the guy who plays Voldemort. And
Ray
Red
Fiennes.
Dragon. Yeah, I would love to have him on the set. I think he'd do a fantastic job with the character. We were thinking about putting him in another movie too. If we could, we would really love to have Malik in maybe the fifth installment, but
nice.
Depending on the budget again.
Yeah.
You know.
Pre lopped off jaw or post?
It's gonna be post. It's only 4 years. It takes place 4 years before the first game.
Oh, okay.
So I think
his
at that
jaw's
point, his jaw's gone.
At that point, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
There you go.
So earlier you talked about part 2 of Shadows of Corruption coming out at the end of this month.
Mm-hmm.
And you also mentioned that you originally wrote it as a 6-piece set.
Yeah, a 6-piece short film set, so 10 minutes to 20 minutes each.
So how are episodes 3 through 6 looking?
Ooh, the writing is really good. I'll tell you that. The writing is very exciting. It has a lot of fangasmic moments in it where you see two characters you've always wanted to see pit against each other, and finally they have the opportunity to do it. So I can tell you, if we get the funding, if we have the people that step behind it, it would be a very exciting conclusion to the story. Like right now, we're finishing up the first act. You know, things have been set up. The second act is obviously very intense. It's very deeming towards the protagonist. Things are not looking so good. The dark side is prevailing. And then the climax at the end is just it's really cool. I can tell you that. I don't know how much of the story I can release until we actually have an idea of where we're headed, but it's just you get to see Sith Lords duke it out the way you've always imagined them. Very.
Yeah.
So then, are you writing this completely on your own, or are you at least working with others when you're coming up with these with your acts and the other parts?
The initial story is all written by me. I do bring in consultants to make sure that we're at least a little bit on par with the canon universe. I mean, now that the new Revan books come out, it kind of screwed things up.
Yeah, you can forget about it.
Yeah, I'm trying not to think about it. But other than that, I just want to make sure that the fans aren't too offended by our branch off into this fan fiction. I want to make sure that they're like, okay, maybe it's a possibility. That could have happened. You know, it's really cool to see that, you know, these two characters, you know, in the same place at the same time, you know. And we do get complaints about it, but obviously you're not going to get away with it completely with
if you try to please everybody, you end up with an amorphic thing that doesn't please anyone.
It's Human Centipede 2 kind of film.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
What's going on along the lines of the human being in the community show.
Yeah. Well, and how do we know that the new Revan book isn't actually just, you know, political fiction that's been thrown out there? Yeah.
It was all just a dream the entire time. It was a fictitious reality created in
they
the
don't
head.
want you to
That's how
know
I
where.
fix that. That's how I definitely fix that.
Like the ending of Elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough because you never know what Lucas is going to do, what's going to be pushed out by Lucas Arts and Films. So, you know, you started this long before that happened. So, I just say go for it and throw out your vision of it.
So I actually have one last question.
Okay, you will take it.
So you're doing this Star Trek or Star Wars thing.
Oh
so
man, now we're treading.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There we go.
Slip
You
of the
may
tongue.
have to pull out the bat.
Slip of the tongue. My bad. You're doing the Star Wars, and you're also doing the
Question.
the show. Oh, what question?
The question.
No, the question.
Oh, you're also doing the question.
Yeah, the character.
What? You're doing the question. You're also doing your movie reviews. What other sort of films are you making? Are you doing anything other than just those three things, or are you doing anything else?
Well, outside my professional field, which is actually doing music videos and promotionals and commercials, I like to do a lot of fan fiction. That's what I've kind of been labeled as the fan fiction director. So obviously I've been starting to do this DC superhero character called The Question. He's kind of unknown. You see him a little bit in the Justice League a little bit.
Oh, that's the guy without a face, right?
Yeah, that's him.
Oh, okay.
And it's going to be a sweet movie.
Mine is the black ink like Rorschach.
Yeah, pretty much. And but outside of that, you know, I do some art films and stuff like that. Some stuff you would normally see just in a university or film school.
Yeah.
You know, stuff that it doesn't pique a lot of people's interest right now, but just wait till Sundance, you know, kind of thing. But it's all fun, as I was telling you guys on break, the reason I do filmmaking is because of my passion. This happens to line up against it too, and every year I've got to do a Star Wars or a fan film or a fanboy movie. That's what it's all about for me.
Nice. All right, where can they find?
Oh yeah, sorry, my girlfriend's waving me down on the edit over there, saying I also did a film called Bloodshot Rots, which is a fun zombie film set out in the wild, wild west.
Sold.
Really?
I got one here.
We actually won quite a few awards with that one.
Where can we find this amazing
I will
video?
send you a link.
Awesome.
It's on YouTube.
Zombies and cowboys.
Actually,
Don't need
I don't
to say
know if
more.
you know Izzy Keener or any of those guys around here.
Okay.
But he's all starring. He also stars as the Question, and it's a really fun movie. We went out to locations out in Kanab, where the old Hollywood sets were actually built up.
Yeah.
And it's been so long, like 50, 60 years, that they're all rotted into themselves and collapsing. We're like, hey, look at that. We have a post-apocalyptic zombie Western movie, right? Sitting at the edge of our feet.
Yeah.
And we went out and shot, and it's great. I'll send you guys a link.
Sweet. So, where can they find your stuff?
Well, you can go to www.seaichfilms.com. My last name is really hard to pronounce and say, so it's SEAICH films.com. And that'll direct you right now to my YouTube page until our website's finished. And you can find all of the films we mentioned tonight and a couple other Star Wars films I didn't mention. We do District 9 parody with Star Wars. We do a couple other comedy films.
Nice.
And yeah, it's all fun. And we'll continue to post fan films and stuff on there forever. So.
Sweet.